Hello everyone and welcome along to the final round of the AOR PS4 season, the final round of the AOR Season 14 as a whole, with everything finishing last week across all tiers and all platforms. It's finally time to end the PS4 F2 season, which of course had this Singapore Grand Prix, which of course was delayed as we missed out earlier on in the season on running it, but we do now have the joy of having it as our final race on Season 14. Hopefully we can have a cracking finale to the entire of Season 14 on AOR, where of course next season we move into Season 15. The sign-ups I see have just been put out on the website, so if anyone's watching and they feel like signing up for the AOR, be sure to do that, because the sign-ups are now open. And of course, also announced this week for the AOR, the Hype Energy AOR F1 leagues are now known as. A fantastic addition to the AOR family. Sponsorships, good to see from them. But 10 minutes to go in the session. We are all started here in what is the final round of the championship. And just to give any new viewers who don't usually watch the F2 on PS4 League, I'll just run by the championship standings. This season is over as in terms of a championship battle. Curly Worley has won the World Championship. He is on top of the standings with 234 points, 113 clear of second place Sam in the Mercedes. Diego Keller and Gemzo are third and fourth in the standings with 114 and 106 points. Then in fifth and sixth, 96 and 95 points, you've got Theo and Iceman. RC Cougs, the Portuguese driver, is seventh in the driver standings. Flores is in eighth. F1 Dan ninth. Pitmat 10th. Elite Game Boy 11th. The Brain is 12th. Davidos 13th. Cherry 25 14th. Cass, who's not with us tonight, 15th. Orai Kink 16th. Caribbean Crush 17th. The H Eagle 18th. Guy the Guy 19th. And Brown 20th in the driver standing. So of course Curly Worley wrapped up that world title quite a few weeks ago back in Mexico City, and yeah, we'll end the season here unusually in the Singapore Grand Prix. We had Abu Dhabi last week and it was a fantastic race. So many fantastic races in this F2 season. I hope once again we can provide you with some more great action as I ride on board with Cherry 2 Pie, locking up there and seemingly on a quick lap here in Singapore, heading down towards heading through that middle sector now, through this tricky left-hander. So easy to understeer wide, but Cherry 2 Pie keeping things all under control as he heads down to what used to be the Singapore Sling. That's now a simple left-hander, and now into the tight Anderson Bridge, the narrowest part of the entire Formula 1 calendar. And now exiting there, now along one of the two bridges. He's already went along the Anderson Bridge and now along the Esplanade Bridge. Doesn't look like a bridge, but believe me, you see the helicopter camera of the circuit, that is a huge bridge running over a river. And now he heads into the final sector of the lap, this tricky right-hander, followed by a left where Nelson Piquet once famously crashed deliberately to hand Fernando Alonso a victory. Along the Marina Bay and underneath the grandstand. The only time really in the Formula 1 calendar you do that. Mexico City, the other place where you sort of go through the grandstand, not underneath it. And he now heads through the final couple of corners to end a lap. Flores is set the first time on the board, a 137.158. Cherry 2 Pie goes second, 8 tenths shy, a 137.932 to complete a lap of the Singapore circuit. And he's backed out of it, and just the one run for him so far. Theo's gone third quickest, and Dan the Snake fourth quickest in the Sauber. These drivers quite far down, or sorry, Dan Snake certainly quite far down in the driver standings. What about the H Eagle? Let's keep an eye on him as Curly Worley, your world champion, goes third quickest. He'll be hoping for a promotion to the top tier next year. Sign-ups out on the website this evening for Season 15. Be sure to sign up as we keep an eye on the H Eagle, the German driver, heading through the final couple of corners here in Singapore, right up to the wall on the way into the final corner, flinging the Ferrari through, heading for the line, and goes third quickest. Flores with quite a gap on the pack so far. A really good start for Flores, 7.5 tenths clear of anyone so far to set a lap. But we know Gemzo is really quick. What about Guy the Guy? He goes sixth quickest, 1.1 off the pace with a 133.3. Let's keep an eye on Gemzo, though. He is one of the quicker drivers in this tier, so again, anyone watching F2 for the first time, keep an eye on him. Flores, world champion world champion Curly Worley, all guys worth watching. Diego Keller, who's yet to set a lap, he's quick too, and he's in the final sector now. Here goes the Toro Rosso driver. Quite a few Dutch drivers in this league. Diego Keller, Gemzo, to name a couple. Override Kink as well. And to pole sitter at the moment, Flores, 7.5 tenths advantage as we watch Diego Killer head through the Marina Bay part of the lap, underneath the grandstand. Now a right-hander follows another right-hander where you go underneath the highway or the motorway. Depends where you're from in the world, I suppose, how you pronounce that. Now past the Singapore flyer on the left-hand side, and he's coming into the pit to abandon the lap. So we'll go back to Gemso, who is now negotiating the same few corners we've just described. And here comes the Williams driver, the Dutchman, heading for the final corner. 1:37.1 the target, gets it all wrong in the final corner, surely loses some time, and it shows. In fact, he said had the lap invalidated, he stays 13th. I think probably in that final corner, getting that lap invalidated there. So we still wait on a lap time from RC Googs and Diego Killer, but at the halfway point of the session, everyone completing their first runs, it is Flores on top with a 1:37.158. Cherry Tupai second quickest, as Iceman now goes into second. 1:37.7 I think that was. There you go, there's the times. 1:37.1 for Flores. Iceman second, 1:37.7. The guy now third quickest on a 1:37.8. Cherry Tupai fourth. The H-Eagle is fifth. Over I Kink is sixth. And out of the session it would appear. Sam is seventh, Dan eighth, Curly Wurly ninth, and Theo rounding out the top 10. The H-Eagle's back to his lap. I think we've got a little bit of a lull in the action at the moment. Most guys winding up for another lap, another run. But we'll keep an eye on RC Googs. Is he coming in? Yes. So RC Googs coming in. No time on the board from that opening run in qualifying. So not a good start for the Portuguese driver. Like so for Diego Killer, who has looked really quick lately. He won last time out in Abu Dhabi with a scintillating performance. Totally bossed the field. But he's currently down at the back with no time set. What about Gemso then? Is he going hard again? Is he pushing in that Williams again underneath the grandstand? Through that right-hander, rubbing it up close to the wall. A few corners to go for Gemso, the Dutchman. Is he going to complete the lap? I think he might be coming in. He is coming in, so Gemso ends this in lap. So it's all about the final run. So the likes of Gemso, RC Googs and Diego Killer, a lot of pressure on those three. It is a street circuit, of course. So it is very, very tricky to overtake if they don't get the lap right in qualifying. So all the more pressure than what there usually is if you don't get the banker in early on. So Flores still on top with a very commanding advantage. That's impressive from him. Really hoping. He's had a lot of bad luck in recent weeks, Flores. He's had a few first corner incidents ending his race really early. And he'll be hoping today to show why he is capable of a place in the top tier on PS4 next season. That is, of course, his aim. So we'll see if he can do that. And of course, with a 6/10 advantage, you got to say it's hard to argue with it. There are a lot of cars now out there beginning their outlaps. Here's Cherry Tupai. He spoke to me in the paddock earlier in the weekend, and he said to me that he hopes for a podium finish. He said he wants to be speaking to me in the podium interviews at the end of this Grand Prix. So hopefully, Cherry Tupai can do just that. And currently fourth quickest, he's got a real chance of doing that. So he's on an outlap, Flores is on an outlap. Anyone else on a quick one? We've got Sam on an outlap, Curly on an outlap, Theo about to start a flying lap, so let's keep an eye on him. Round the final corner, across the start finish line, currently 10th for the Greek driver, heading towards turn 1 here in Singapore. Through turn 1 he goes, the scene of that enormous accident at the start of the 2017 Singapore Grand Prix. Through 2 and 3, and now climbing up through the gears into this tricky right-hander. You need to get onto the apex because it's so easy to bring the car wide towards the wall, and Theo gets right up against the barrier as he heads down Raffles Boulevard. This is a DRS zone. DRS open on that Ferrari, as you can see. This is where most overtaking will be done in the race. End of the first sector. Now through the left-hander, now into another tricky 90-degree right-hander, and another corner that really does want to pull you wide and tight to the wall, and there you go, Theo clips it on his way through there, and now down into what was the Singapore sling, now a simple left-hander as you go past the Parliament building on the right hand side, now across the Anderson Bridge and into this tight left-hander, almost a hairpin, and again back on the throttle, up through the gears, 3, 4, up into 5th, right up through 6th and into 7th, not quite enough for 8th gear as you hit the timing beam at the end of the second sector. Theo pushing hard, 1.3 off the pole time of Flores thus far as he climbs down the gears again, past the water on the right hand side. All the fans up on the grandstand on the left there get such a fantastic view of the city. Not so can be said about the racetrack, as to be, if I'm honest with you. Not the greatest year of the cars. As we watch Theo head round the final corner towards the start-finish line, currently 10th quickest. It's looked like a pretty solid lap from the Greek driver. He heads for the line and moves right up into 3rd position. So solid stuff there from the Greek driver, moving himself into contention, but still nobody able to touch the time of Flores. What about Cherry Tupai? Dropped to 5th as a result of that effort from Theo in the Force India. Heading towards the end of the lap. Diego Killer finally shows what he's capable of. Goes 2nd quickest. Gets slightly closer to Flores. Still not close enough. Still 3.5 tenths away in Formula 1. That is light years. So Diego Killer moving himself into contention. What about Cherry Tupai? Been bumped down to 6th place. Can he put himself back up towards the front? He can. 3rd quickest. Half a second shy of the pole time of Flores, who is simply looking untouchable at the moment. What about Iceman? And I think this is a slow one. It is a slow one. What about Guy the Guy in the final corner, heading for the line? 5 seconds to go. He stays 6th quickest. No improvement. The H-Eagle starts a flying lap. Who else we got out there in the final sector? Sam is in there. Carly Worley, the world champion, on a quick one. Currently nowhere in terms of pace. Very unlike him. Gemzo out there. I see Cougs out there. Flores then, is he about to strengthen his grip even further on the top spot? Oh, what a time! 1:36.5 from Flores. That is absolutely insane. He's completely smashed the field as Sam goes 4th quickest. Where has Flores pulled that from? Oh, the rest of the pack might as well pack up and go home. What a time that is. Goodness gracious. Iceman, 5th quickest. He's going to need to find some time. We've got Guy the Guy up against the wall. His lap ruined. The H-Eagle pushing. Dan the Snake in the final corner. He's currently 10th. He stays 10th. Carly Worley, world champion. Half a second up in his current best. Doesn't look like he's going to be anywhere near the front. No. Carly Worley, only 8th quickest for the world champion. The reigning champion, 8th at best. What about the H-Eagle, Iceman, Cherry Tupai, all those guys worth watching. Iceman, Cherry Tupai's backed out of it. Iceman still pushing, but it's going to take something very special to beat the time of Flores. Gemzo's now gone 2nd. It's a Dutch 1-2-3. Flores still an absolute country mile off in the distance on the timing screens. Iceman into the final corner. The H-Eagle's done a fine effort to go 3rd. Iceman, he now goes 3rd. 8 tenths off, and that rounds off qualifying because Cherry Tupai's on a slow one, and it is Flores the Dutchman with a blinding effort, a 1:36.520. He's stolen the show in qualifying. He's obliterated the field, and he is on top here today. Slightly surprising given his recent form. Again, a lot of it's been down to poor luck, but boy oh boy, Flores delivering today with a superb qualifying effort. And there is your Singapore Grand Prix in F2 qualifying results. It's the PS4 in F2, and Flores is on top, 1:36.520, 6.5 tenths quicker than his fellow countryman Genzo in 2nd. Iceman is 3rd, the Englishman in the McLaren on a 1:37.3. The H-Eagle, a fine effort to go 4th. Diego Killer, he'll be disappointed with 5th. He'd have rather been up there with his Dutch counterparts. Cherry Tupai is 6th, Sam is 7th, Theo 8th, Guy the Guy 9th, and your world champion Curly Willy rounds out the top 10. Well, we're all set for race day here in Singapore. Flores stole the show with a fine effort in qualifying. What will happen today in the race? Is he going to be the man to take to the top of... Is he going to run away with this, is Flores? Let's have a keep an eye on him. Or can the likes of Gemzo and the H-Eagle and Iceman and maybe even Diego Killer get themselves involved? It's going to be a tall order, especially with that 6 tenths advantage, but it will be one to watch. Singapore Grand Prix, of course, affected by rain in real life last year, so rain is another possibility. We'll have to keep an eye on the skies, of course, and the weather radars as the race goes on. It is, of course, the longest race on the Formula 1 calendar as well, so it's going to be important to remain consistent at all times, and you don't want to be putting the car on the wall. It is a very, very hard endurance race, this one. But here we go then, the final round on Season 14 across all platforms on the AOR. It's F2, it's PS4, it's underway, and Flores leads from pole, but Jameso has got a great start going side by side into turn 1. Terrible camera angle, there you go, back to the front, and Flores has got the lead. Jameso looked like he got himself through, but he outbraked himself into 1. Jameso drops back to 2nd, and Flores retakes the lead. It's Iceman 3rd, and side by side for 4th and 5th is that Diego Killer. It is making a move on the H-Eagle and moving up 1 position from his starting position. So Flores leads, Jameso 2nd, Iceman 3rd, the Eagle Killer 4th, the H-Eagle is 5th, and look at that switch back there from the Cherry 2-Pie, diving up the inside of the H-Eagle, the German and the Scot, rubbing wheels, no love lost between the two of them, and it looks like the H-Eagle holds on for now. Now Cherry 2-Pie getting nibbled at by the H-Eagle's teammate, that's Theo, the Greek driver, attacking Cherry 2-Pie but unable to find a way through. So interesting start to the race, and Carly Worley, world champion, facing the wrong way down at the back of the pack. He'll be happy he's not in a championship fight anymore. He should be safe enough, I would think, for a promotion to the top tier next season. And not ideal, not the way he wants to end the season. As we go back to the front, it's Flores leading, Jameso 2nd, Iceman 3rd, Diego Killer 4th, and H-Eagle in 5th. Let's give you the tyre compounds, and of course the... hold on, where are they? Give me the tyre compounds. There we go. There you go. Most of the field on the ultra soft tyre as RC Cougs and Caribbean Crush do battle down the back. Let's have a look at that. Oh, side by side. Caribbean Crush forced out by RC Cougs, the Portuguese driver, moving ahead of Caribbean Crush, and now Dan the Snake, Caribbean Crush's teammate, having a little look as Guy the Guy is behind them in 14th. He's had a horrible start to the Grand Prix. Right down the field. Let's have a quick look at the position change. Guy the Guy down 5, Curly Worley down 5, and Guy the Guy crushing the barrier there. They're the biggest losers, and Guy the Guy's coming in. Is Curly Worley coming in? No, he continues. So Flores leads, Jameso 2nd, Iceman 3rd, no changes in the top 3. Diego up 1, H-Eagle down 1, and Theo's up 1 against Sam as well. The Game Boy up 2, Override King up 3, and RC Googs, the biggest mover in the pack, up 4 as we begin lap 2 and hurtle down Raffles Boulevard. Flores in control. Jameso behind him in 2nd, 8/10 the gap between the two, and Diego Keller looking quite racy behind Iceman in that battle for 3rd and 4th. It's going to be a long race as we've got a yellow flag. Is that RC Googs? I think it is. Yep, it is. RC Googs spinning, and now the two Saubers are dueling. No love lost between those two, and Dan the Snake has found his way past Caribbean Crush. So I think Caribbean Crush and RC Googs had a little bit of contact, presumably, and that's allowed Dan the Snake to sliver like a snake would up into 11th place and ahead of his teammate Caribbean Crush, and now he can hunt down Override King and try and get himself into the points, and Override King himself is embroiled in a big battle with Elite Game Boy, Sam and Theo. So let's keep an eye on that little scrap. The Ferrari of Theo, then Sam and the Mercedes, and then of course the Renault behind that of Elite Game Boy and Override King, all in a little scrap here in the lower reaches of the top 10, scrapping over the final few points. But at the moment, Theo holding firm in 7th with Sam behind him, and Elite Game Boy 9th and Override King 10th. Meanwhile, the two Saubers continue their battle. Dan the Snake up ahead of Caribbean Crush. Will they decide to swap those positions back though, as Flores sets a new fastest lap of the race, opens his gap out to above a 2nd, breaking the DRS, which is now enabled, as you can see on the left hand side of your screen. Oh, Dan the Snake running wide, very, very wide, and that will surely allow Caribbean Crush, his teammate, up the inside and through into 11th place. Indeed it does, and Dan the Snake drops back to 12th, and well, a big mistake, and as you can see, the front wing damage is to blame, and to be honest, I think the Sauber team will be happy about that, because Caribbean Crush is on the quicker tyre, the Ultra Soft, as you can now see on your screen on the left hand side. Just giving you a little look at the position changes from the opening laps to begin with. Then we switch to the tyre compounds, and as you see, most of the field on Ultra Soft tyres. Elite Game Boy, Override King, Dan the Snake on Super Softs, and Guy the Guy as well, but I think Guy the Guy's been in to change onto those Super Soft compound tyres. So let's keep an eye on Sam. He's the one closest to a car up ahead, looking more likely than anyone, chasing down Theo in the Ferrari. And it's difficult to judge what the best overtaking opportunities are on this track. They are limited, but I would say at the end of this straight here, as we exit onto the bridge, the Esplanade, and down towards that 2nd sector timing being, this is an overtaking area, but it's difficult to get close coming off the Anderson Bridge and getting a good run down there. So if you can't do that, you do have a slight chance into turn 1, but without doubt your biggest chance is the DRS zone, down Raffles Boulevard, down to the end of that first sector. That is, without doubt, the place to make a move as Flores extends his gap now to 1.6 seconds to James. Iceman continues in third, challenged by Diego Keller fourth, only 6/10 between those guys. And then the H-Eagle fifth, the German driver running well. Cherry Tupai sixth and Theo seventh, and Sam clipping the wall on the way into that corner there. That's allowed Elite Game Boy to get alongside. One small error in F2 and you can be punished, and that's exactly what happens there. Sam gets it wrong, and from chasing Theo he finds himself dropping a place, but now Elite Game Boy lights up the rears. Now Sam has another look up the inside. Is he going to go back up the inside? Sam has a little look. Oh, look how close that is. Great racing between the two. Elite Game Boy has the upper hand. Sam tries to get alongside. He's going to be forced to go the long way round on the outside at the end of the straight. DRS open, and now his Mercedes teammate tries to get involved, and in fact, Override King clips the back of Sam, damages his wing, and might even damage it again, and very nearly does. Collects Sam for a second time in 2 successive corners. So I saw one for Override King, and now he's understeering, and now he's clipping the wall, and that might need an early pit stop. Frustrating stuff for the Dutchman. Frustrating stuff for both Mercedes cars. One damages the wing, touching his teammate. The other one drops behind Elite Game Boy, following a mistake in the final corner. And Elite Game Boy moves up into 8th place, and especially when he's on the super soft, that will frustrate Sam even further. Sam as well put in a fine performance last week in Abu Dhabi. A man that, whoa, was Elite Game Boy gets a little bit wide, missing the apex entirely. But Sam, yeah, it was superb last week. We hadn't seen the form that reflected his championship position for so long, until last week, where he put in a fine performance to get on the podium. But again, this weekend, reverting back to the Sam of recent races, and struggling in that midfield, and losing out to Elite Game Boy there. Not at all what he'd been hoping for. So let's take a little shift to Caribbean Crush, who's got Override King, and yeah, Override King has decided to come into the pits. So Override King with that damaged wing, not interested in carrying on, and struggling further, and he nearly wipes the front suspension off the car on the way into the pits there as he comes in now for that stop. And what tyre is going on? The Dutchman. It looks like a set of the Super Softs and a brand new front wing. Not Ultra Softs, the game just messing us up there. So Ultra Softs for Override King. Cannon Snake, he's been in the pits at some point, I don't remember that. And the guy of course as well, right behind him. So those two have made stops and are right down the field. But we need to go to Diego Keller, who is the man on the move at the moment. He and Iceman is the battle to watch. Also another one to watch is Elite Game Boy and Sam, as we were watching prior to this. And can Diego Keller get himself ahead of Iceman and make it a Dutch 1, 2, 3 from Amsterdam to Rotterdam? I'm sure they'll be enjoying the action at the moment. Two Dutch drivers leading the way, and they would love to be watching this back in Holland, hoping to get an all Dutch podium. That would be something they would absolutely love. But Iceman at the moment spoiling that little Dutch podium dream, running well in third position. But Flores, by the way, given his qualifying pace, not really stretching out at the advantage I thought he might to Gemzo, but he certainly does have a pace advantage, there's no doubt about that. But given he was 6/10 quicker than anyone in qualifying, he's not really running away with it, is he? It's a bit like Lewis Hamilton in the Grand Prix this morning. Some suggested he might run away given his 7/10 gap in qualifying, but it didn't happen, and he ended up losing the race. But Flores, I can't see him losing this. He's looking like he's in complete control out front as we go past 1/5 distance. Lap 6 out of 31, and Flores still in the lead. 1.8 seconds of advantage over James O second, Iceman third, and then Diego Keller looking the raciest of all cars out there behind Iceman in that battle for the final podium spot. Diego Keller, of course, with that fine performance last time out in Abu Dhabi, really did school the field that weekend. It was superb. I've never seen a performance so dominant, and he looked in fine form, and once again looking for a strong result to try and strengthen his hopes of a job or a drive in the top tier next season on PS4. And as I've mentioned a couple of times already, I'll refresh your memories, folks. The season 15 sign-ups are out. They are on the AOR website, so if you are watching for the first time or unaware because you've not been on the forum for a week since we've not been racing, be sure to go on there right now or come the end of this race and get yourself signed up for season 15, as it promises to be another thrilling season. Of course, we're teaming up with Hype Energy next season as well. AOR announcing this week another sponsor to add to the AOR family, which is always good to see. As we keep an eye on this little battle between Diego and Iceman. He must be getting very frustrated now, Diego Killer. He might be thinking about an undercut on Iceman, perhaps. And if not, can he try and make a move on him? But I think his best chance is going to be at the end of that first sector, going down Raffles Boulevard. But he just cannot get close enough as he opens up the DRS down the start-finish straight to try and give himself a chance as they go through turn 1 and 2. But Iceman still holding the upper hand at the moment. So, lap 7 out of 31. That's Flores in the lead. Gemzo second. Iceman third. Eagle Killer in fourth. The H-Eagle has fifth for Cherry 2 Pie sixth. Theo is seventh with Elite Game Boy in eighth. And let's keep an eye on that little battle with Sam again right behind him. Elite Game Boy perhaps being saved a little bit here by the DRS that he might have to the car in front. In fact, he doesn't have it to Theo in front. So Sam homing in on the back of the Renault. Is he going to have a look up the inside? He's going to go late on the brakes, try and frighten Elite Game Boy off the road, but there's no way to do that. And Sam remains stuck in ninth place. We've got a yellow flag in sector 3. Who's that in sector? Oh, there you go. It's Guy the Guy. And he's crashed coming out of the penultimate corner, I believe, going into the final. And Guy the Guy's season comes to a disappointing end. And he'll be keeping his eyes focused on season 15. Guy the Guy, the first retirement. And we're down to just 14 runners here on F2 on PS4 in the final race of the season. It's good night, Guy the Guy. And he'll be off back to his hotel room, or maybe off to the Singapore streets for a little party. Who knows? His season is over, and we'll keep an eye on his move next season. Will he be again in F2, or will he be going down to F3, or is he looking for a promotion? But I'll have to keep an eye on that and wait and see. But as we go back to Diego Killer, again stuck behind Iceman as they go past the Singapore Flyer on the left-hand side. And for anyone who's not had a chance to go to the Singapore Grand Prix, a little note: if you do buy a race weekend ticket for Singapore, you do get access to that Singapore Flyer. It's free access to get into that big wheel in the final corner. It's fantastic views. You can see much of the circuit from up there. So I highly recommend anyone that does go to the Singapore Grand Prix to do that. Buy a 3-day ticket pass and get yourself up there and have a look at the action during maybe FP1 or FP2. But back to the action on track, and Diego Killer still stuck behind Iceman in what is the best battle on track, and the Dutchman getting increasingly infuriated as Iceman continues to just hold him off. And it's not even difficult for Iceman. It's not as if he's having to move left and right to defend, darting all over the racetrack. He just has a pace advantage in a straight line that Diego just cannot get close enough. But let's have a little look at the telemetry. Diego, as you can see, in lean fuel at the moment, 0.6 laps. Perhaps maybe saving his fuel for later on in the race. And as you can see, Iceman in his defence has got minus 1.5 laps, so not going to be easy for him to hold off Diego for long, because he will eventually have to knock that fuel down into lean even on the critical parts of the racetrack. So Diego Killer might fancy his chances soon. They might be relaying that information to him in the cockpit, but at the moment Diego Killer still keeping himself stuck behind Iceman. I don't know how soon the pit stops will be. I'm not too sure on tyre life or tyre wear around this circuit. I'm not sure if it's a 1 or a 2 stop, but 8 laps in, these guys are still going, and Iceman now comes in. So there you go. He's found out that now is the time to come into the pit. So now Diego Killer needs to put a few blistering laps together to get his car up into the podium places and start to threaten Gemzo and Flores beyond that. But first of all, he needs to get himself ahead of Iceman. And Iceman, is he going to be held up in the pits here? Away he goes. And I don't think he was held up by any cars coming down the pit lane. So back out goes Iceman. Critical that he comes out in some clean air. Is that going to be the case? It looks like it. Here comes Iceman back out on the track. And the McLaren McBoys worked it out to perfection. They knew that there was a clean area of the racetrack to slot Iceman back out. And now we can use those fresh super soft tyres to their best and try and stretch them out and get some quick times on the board to try and keep Diego Killer's overcut threat away. So minus 0.5 on the fuel. He'll keep it on Rich for now. So the last thing he wants is Diego Killer in front of him after the pit stops, and we ride back on board with Diego Killer, who looks like a man on a mission, finally free from his cage, stuck behind the back of Iceman. And now He's trying to stretch his legs as he goes down Esplanade Bridge and down towards the end of that second sector. Diego Keller pushing hard, trying to hunt down Gemzo and Flores, who still are only separated by around 1.1 seconds. So fair play to Gemzo. Flores looked like it was a done deal in qualifying, but no. He's really finding the paces, Gemzo, to keep with him and potentially try and undercut. Oh, big slide there from Gemzo. That won't help him. Is he coming in? Flores covers him. Can make sure he comes in now in case Gemzo did think about it. So Gemzo's going to go longer. Flores in the pits. Gemzo goes longer, and Diego Keller stretching his stint out further as well. That's interesting as Caribbean Crush picks up a 3-second time penalty. I think I saw one there for Cherry 2 Pie as well. As Flores is in the pits, he's finally freed from his box. Theo's also felt the need to come in, and he's going on to a set of super soft tyres. Okay, come out your garage instead. Strange one, Cody's. As we go back to Flores, and this. Hold on a minute. Oh, he's behind Curly Whirly. I thought that was Iceman there. That was actually good. Sorry, he's a lap down. So Flores back out in 7th position. Iceman only 2.8 behind him. So Iceman has gained quite a bit of time there on Flores. I would think a few tenths, or maybe a second, as much as that perhaps. So maybe coming in at that time was the right thing. So is Gemzo under pressure perhaps from losing out to Iceman? Are these guys going to try and stretch it out long enough to go on to a set of super softs? Quite possibly. Let's just give you, for anyone just tuning in, that is the pit stop situation. Flores, Iceman, the H-Eagle, Theo, Sam, Override King, Dan the Snake have all been in, and the guy retired with a crash in the penultimate corner, on the exit I should say, of the penultimate corner, as we watch Gemzo out in front locking up the tyres there, kicking up some tyre smoke. And we now got a yellow in sector 2. Why is that? Oh, that's why. Override King facing the wrong way. Between the Singapore Sling, or around the Singapore Sling section of the track, and that allows Dan the Snake through, and Override King's lost his front wing. And I think a retirement won't be too far away, to be honest, as Gemzo goes for another lap out front. 20 laps to go. It's lap 11 out of 31. He's gone wide into turn 1. Oh, the tyres beginning to die on Gemzo's car perhaps. Is this a bit risky, taking these ultras this far? Because Diego Killer's come in, and he's fitting a new front wing as Diego Killer. So he must have damaged it somewhere on that in lap, because I don't think it was damaged before that. And Diego Killer's on his way, and he's going to lose out to Iceman. Will he lose out to the H-Eagle? Perhaps he will. 2 Italian cars. And he might even lose out to Theo too here. The H-Eagle comes out ahead, or is ahead of Diego Killer. What about Theo? Theo's behind. So Diego Killer losing out big time there. And the man that he overtook at the start, the H-Eagle, he's going to have to try and overtake him again. And going by his attempts to try and pass Iceman, that will not be easy. So Gemzo now has the lead of the Grand Prix with Cherry 2 Pie in second, Elite Game Boy third, Caribbean Crush 4th, Curly Whirly 5th, and Flores in 6th on those soft compound tyres. You would think Curly, Caribbean, Cherry and Gemzo will be in the pits quite soon, as the Override King comes in to change the wing. We're going to be one to keep an eye on as we keep an eye on Caribbean Crush, who's been charging through the field. Next up on his radar is Elite Game Boy, and he's been closing in on Elite Game Boy as well. So Caribbean Crush seemingly having some decent pace on the ultras at this time. And can he find a way past the Renault driver of Elite Game Boy in front? What about Gemzo? Is he considering a pit stop anytime soon? Yes, he is. So there you go, Gemzo finally calls for the pits. Now this is the interesting moment. Is it softs or is it super softs? If it's super softs, there is a chance he might be able to take the race to Flores, who is now on the softs, and he's just passed Curly Whirly as well, out over screens. So Flores ahead of Curly. There it is there. So will Flores be ahead of Gemzo? I think so. Gemzo heading down the pit lane now, or it's not going to be as straightforward as I thought. And Flores is ahead of Gemzo, but not by the margin I expected it to be. And Flores has a chance, Gemzo has a chance here of taking this race to Flores on the softer compound of tyres. So this is not a done deal. Also, the good news for Gemzo is he did not lose that place to Iceman either, which looked like a possibility. Iceman unable to put the laps together, and he is behind Gemzo. So now we've got a difference in strategy. Can Gemzo 2.6 behind Flores. Take the race to him as the laps go by. Wow. We do have a race in our hands here. It won't be as straightforward as it looked for Flores beforehand. The gap was around a second, but James was never close enough on the same tyres to get a move done. He might get close this time though, because he's on a stage softer tyres. Flores on soft, James on supers. That will be an interesting race. Be sure to tune in and enjoy that one. As the laps tick by, do not go anywhere, folks. We have a race on our hands between two Dutch drivers for victory, Flores and James. Now, another question, will Flores get to these two guys before they pit? Because that would also spice it up a little bit. I don't think so. 6.8 between Caribbean Crush and Flores. I would expect these guys in the not too distant future. Maybe Elite Game Boy will go a little bit longer. The Caribbean Crush will surely be in for a set of super soft tyres in the not too distant future. As they go through the final part of the lap, and that's over. Caribbean Crush. Yep, he's heading for the pit lane. And in he comes for a brand new set of red banded super soft tyres, I would think, as Overdrive King picks up a 3-second time penalty. One of the slowest pit lanes on the calendar, only 36 miles an hour through this pit lane, as it is very short. And in comes Caribbean Crush, and what tyre will go on? I would suspect a set of the super soft compound for Caribbean Crush. Into the box and away he goes onto those super softs like clockwork. Beautiful stop from the Silver team. He will drop, I think, to the fringes of the top 10, and indeed he does. But he now has super soft tyres and a chance to start hunting the likes of Sam and Theo down. And what about this little battle here? Deal Killer and Cherry 2 Pie, 6th and 7th at the moment. Has Cherry 2 Pie just got ahead of Deal Killer? Missed by me perhaps, I'm not sure. And Deagle Killer attacking Cherry 2 Pie, unable to find a way through at the moment. Jameso closing that gap already to 2.1. He's found half a second since he's come out the pits already. So Deagle Killer right behind Cherry 2 Pie. Is he close enough for a move at any point on this lap? Heading through the tight section of the racetrack, which has been redeveloped in recent years, and now across the Anderson Bridge. Deagle Killer unable to find a way through at the moment. The gap between Elite Game Boy out front and Flores is now down to 5.2. I still expect Elite Game Boy to be in the pits before Flores catches him, unless Elite Game Boy is going on to a set of Ultras, so he might actually be caught in time. It's going to be one to watch that. There's every possibility that Elite Game Boy could mix the battle up at the front. And just for anyone who's just joined us, there you go, there's the pit stop graphic. Elite Game Boy yet to stop. Flores and Jameso have stopped, and Flores is trying to catch him. 4.6 behind Elite Game Boy, and Jameso breathing down Flores' neck on softer tyres. There you go, Flores on softs, Jameso on super softs, catching Flores quickly. And what would really help Jameso would be Elite Game Boy, who's yet to stop on old super softs, holding Flores up. So that is the picture there between those guys as we continue to watch Diego Killer get frustrated behind Cherry 2 Pie, lighting up the rear tyres, exiting turn 3, and Cherry 2 Pie just making life so difficult for Diego Killer, unable to get close enough. He tries to open the DRS again, Diego Killer, but with the Mercedes engine booted in the back of that Force India in front, it's not going to be easy at all. What about Sam? Is he close enough for a run on Theo perhaps? No, he's not, and it's been one of those kind of races. It's been on edge, it's been tense, not a lot happening at the moment, but I can sense something bubba boiling here. I can. Flores and Jameso particularly, as Flores now cuts the gap to 2.5 seconds. Elite Game Boy really is staying out long here, and I think his intentions are to go into a set of super softs later on, so this is definitely one to watch. Elite Game Boy, tyre starting to die, is going to have Flores on his tail soon, and Flores doesn't want to have traffic in front of him because Jameso is racing up onto the back of him very quickly on those quicker and softer super soft tyres. So Flores, when he gets to Elite Game Boy, and Flores is known for a man that takes desperate lunges, he doesn't like hanging around, he does go for big moves. I've seen it in the UFC, I've seen it a few times in this league. Oh well, there you go, Elite Game Boy's crashed, and that ends that particular concern for Flores. Oh, absolutely incredible. Just when it was set up for a really interesting couple of laps, Elite Game Boy goes and sends it into a spin and drops right down to 4th position, and what was a solid first stint has been pretty much ruined, and he's lost about 6 or 7 seconds to his lap there. And that's a sigh of relief for Flores and the guys in the McLaren garage. So Jameso is not going to have that variable to his advantage. As we go back to Cherry 2 Pie, Diego Keller, they're all in a good scrap. We've got a yellow in Sector 3. Curly Wurly, the world champion, has crashed out of this Grand Prix. We'll go to that in a minute because we've got a three-way scrap going down the straight here. Look at this, Cherry Tupai on the inside of the H-Eagle. He dives up the inside of the German and makes it stick on the Ferrari. Now, what about Diego Keller? He tries it up the inside, locks up the front tyres and cannot quite find a way through. I was certain we were going to head for a major accident there. Somehow we don't, as Flores picks up a 3-second time penalty. And that is very important to the outcome of this Grand Prix. Advantage Gemso. And I think we've lost Dan the Snake from the Grand Prix as well. Let's have a little look. Dan the Snake has just retired. Curly Wurly, I think he was in the wall. He's out too, so we're down to 12 runners as it all begins to kick off. Look at this, Diego Keller and the H-Eagle doing battle. The H-Eagle about to lose 2 places, is he? On the same lap. Side by side. No, he's not. False alarm there. The H-Eagle comfortably ahead still of Diego Keller. I think they were side by side, maybe a little bit of contact between them when we went to them. And the H-Eagle has lost out to Cherry Tupai, who climbs up into 5th place. That will be a net 4th when Elite Game Boy makes his stop. So that will be one to watch, but don't go anywhere, folks, because the gap at the front is coming down. 1.2 as Gemso sets a brand new fastest lap of the Grand Prix, dipping into the 1-minute 40s now. A 1:40.9, and he's asking questions of Flores. He's asking questions of his fellow countrymen. What have you got in your locker? What have you got in the tank? Because I'm coming for you. Lap 16 out of 31. We just go beyond the halfway point of this Grand Prix. And Gemso is turning the screw on his fellow countrymen. 1.1 between them. And he's gaining rapidly. Let's keep an eye on the H-Eagle, who is now behind Diego Keller as well. So we missed that as well. So Diego Keller is ahead of the H-Eagle. So a wretched couple of laps for the Ferrari driver. He drops behind Diego Keller and Cherry Tupai. What about Sam? He's still stuck behind Theo. He's having a nightmare afternoon, the Frenchman. Unable to make any sort of inroads up through this top 10. It is still the closest battle on track at the moment. Marginally over the battle between Diego Keller and H-Eagle, but I think that gap's going to start to open out a little bit there between the Diego Keller and H-Eagle. Oh, we've got a yellow flag, and that's a retirement for Overeye King. He's come into the pits, and yeah, practice pit stop there at the end of it, and it might be a pure power unit issue or something, and Overeye King is out of the Grand Prix, and then they were 11. So Overeye King out, presumably with mechanical issue. Dan the Snake the same. We didn't see what happened to Curly Wurly. I think it was a crash. And I think the same can be said for Guy. Well, we did see the guy's crash. He did crash going through the penultimate corners. We go back to Flores. The gap fluctuating around the 9/10 or the 8/10 margin now. DRS open on Gemso's Williams. So here we go. The battle for victory is on as Cherry Tupai now lines up Elite Game Boy, who's still out there on those tyres, yet to make a stop. Is he going to make the move into turn 1? Late on the brakes, has a look. No, not quite, but the Elite Game Boy's wide. 3-second time penalty for Elite Game Boy there. Slightly harsh, you could argue. Gemso not close enough to make a move either. So we'll go back to Cherry Tupai and see if he can find a way past Elite Game Boy. Oh, they bang wheels. Oh, into the back of Elite Game Boy goes Cherry Tupai. Slight contact. Down the back straight they go. Now the DRS is in perfect use. He switches to the inside. And there you go. That's what 17 lap old tyres do versus around 7 lap old tyres. And through he goes, and now Diego Keller follows him through. Both cars passing Elite Game Boy there. And Diego Keller keeping the pressure on Cherry Tupai, and Cherry Tupai letting Diego Keller go. So maybe there was something that happened earlier on in the race. And maybe that's why I let him go. Maybe Cherry Tupai made contact with him earlier on, perhaps. I'm not sure. But look at this at the front. Half a second now between Gemso and Flores. Surely Flores can't hold him back for this long. Well, the good news for Flores is Gemso's only going to be quicker for a few more laps until those super soft tyres are slower than softs, because of course the super soft's a quicker tyre, but it's the less durable tyre, and therefore Flores, as the race goes on, should have an upper hand. But at the moment Gemso is asking all sorts of questions as they go through the final corner and start lap 18 now out of 31. Flores leads, Gemso second, Iceman dropping back now in third. This is a fantastic battle. This is personal. Two Dutch drivers. They have helped each other in the ULC on PS4 for Race Stars, the Dutch League. But this is personal on the racetrack. There's no helping each other out here. This is 1v1 in AOR F2. Both drivers hunting a spot in the top league next season. Every man for themselves. They might be from the same country, but this means everything. Flores on the softs, Gemso on the super softs, working his way into that gap. Flores without doubt the star of qualifying. Gemso showing that he might be the star of the race this afternoon. Here they go into the Singapore Sling, or what it once was a Singapore Sling. Let us know in the comments. I've not any comments so far, although I've got a good 20 or 30 watching, so let us know, who do you think will win this Grand Prix? Is your money on Flores? Is your money on Gemso? Who do you think is going to have the upper hand? But Flores is looking like he's under pressure here. Gemso closer than he's ever been before. He looks to the inside on Flores, but again he runs out of straight. And Flores, if there's one race track on the calendar, or if you had a handful of tracks to pick from that you want to have an advantage of, Singapore would be one of them. Perhaps Monaco would be another. Maybe, what else would you add to that? Albert Park, you would add to it. Hungary, another track that's difficult to overtake on, but Singapore certainly in that little group of tracks you want to be in front. And look at Gemso, he's pushing Flores through the final couple of corners. He demands he gets a move on because he is wanting to take the victory away here. Look at that huge kick of oversteer and understeer, sorry, coming through the final corner. That's a result of the dirty air from following the car in front, and that might just be the thing that will save Flores this afternoon. Gemso certainly looking the more racy, certainly looking likely enough to make a move anytime soon. Lap 19 out of 31, Flores still holding the upper hand. Gemso closing in, the DRS open again on the Williams. Mercedes power in the back of that Williams, certainly quicker than the Honda power in the back of that McLaren as they head down Raffles Boulevard to the breaking point at the end of Sector 1, and still Flores holds the upper hand, but these two are going to be battling hard to the end of this Grand Prix, and we could be in for a titanic battle right to the end of the AOR Season 14 season across all platforms. This is the final race, the only race on show tonight, and we need fireworks to end the AOR Season 14 season. And Gemso trying everything in his power to find a way past Flores, but at the moment his Dutch counterpart has all the answers. Here we go then. Flores, huge kick of oversteer coming out of the Anderson Bridge section down the straight towards the end of Sector 2. Is Flores going to have a little look on the inside again? No, he's not close enough. As Cherry Tupai now picks up a 3-second time penalty. Remember, Flores does have a time penalty himself, but I'm not going to let that take away from the excitement. I'm sorry, I'm just not, because this is absolutely brilliant stuff. Personal. And Flores still holding off Gemso. He knows if he can keep Gemso back, Gemso might pick up a penalty himself. In fact, I'm going to have a little look and see if he has got a penalty, has Gemso. Let's see if he does. He does. So Gemso has a penalty too. So apologies for that. Flores and Gemso both have a penalty. So there's nothing artificial about this battle. This is legitimate on-track battling. There's no penalties separating them. They have 3 seconds on their names each. And the more they pressure each other like this, the more likely they will go collect more penalties as the laps tick by. 11 laps to go. Flores still holding the advantage. Oh, clipping the wall. Is this the chance now? Oh, that was a big thud against the wall there from Flores. And is Gemso close enough for the move on the brakes as they reach the end of the straight? Again, he's denied a chance. And Flores uses one of his 9 lives as a cat and holds on to that lead. Did he damage the wing though? No, he didn't. Flores still ahead for the moment. Gemso all over the back of him as Elite Game Boy sets a new fastest lap of the race, a 140.8 on those fresh Ultra Softs. He's now right down at the back of the pack. He'll do well to get into the points from there. As we now look back from Flores' car to Gemso as they go across the Anderson Bridge. Where is the move going to be made? Where does anyone think in the comments if Gemso's going to do it? Can he do it? Where do we think? I personally think maybe at the end of the Raffles Boulevard down at the end of that first sector is his best chance. I can't see him making a move here. He doesn't seem to be getting close enough down there. But maybe across the Anderson Bridge, a late lunge on the brakes could present an opportunity if Flores is out of shape, perhaps going through the Singapore Sling. Well, other than that, he's limited to his chances as he gets really close again, going through the grandstand. And now underneath the highway they will go, and Gemso still all over the back of Flores. But Flores still having all the answers. As Gemso again shows what I was talking about. The dirty air not helping him. That's one of the high speed corners on the racetrack, one of the fastest corners on the racetrack. A lot of it's slow speed corners, not many medium high speed corners, of course, being a street circuit. And the dirty air proving to be a problem there for Gemso. So what about this time as they go down the Raffles Boulevard at the end of that first sector? Gemso again trying to close in, but once more not close enough, and Flores holds the advantage. So is it time to maybe have a look elsewhere in the field? Usually when I do that, there's a move happens at the front, but I fancy keeping an eye on Caribbean Crush. He looks to be in a little bit of a battle with Sam and Theo. Those three all in a duel at the moment for 7th, 8th and 9th. But at the moment, no major changes in the order there. I really want to go back to the battle for the lead. I cannot really afford to miss anything happening at the front, but this does look like a tasty battle between these three. We will go back to this later on if the battle at the front gets any bigger or James makes his move. But there we go, back to that battle. Flores still fending off Gemso, and 10 laps to go. It's not going to be easy. It is not going to be easy whatsoever to find a way past around the Singapore circuit. Underneath the grandstand they go for the 21st time, and was that Gemso getting close to the wall there? Too close. All over Flores like a rash now in this final sector. Perhaps he just needs to be a little bit more tidy going through the final corner. Except that he's going to lose time through here and not run wide and onto the marbles. And that's a little bit better from James. Oh, maybe not. Wide again. And the frustration continues to mount as they go into turn 1. Can he get himself close enough for a run down that big straight? That's what he needs to do. He needs to try and get a good run out the final corner. Maintain momentum coming into this corner, turn 4, for a run down this straight. But again, not close enough. And Flores, another lap ticks by, and his tyres become the more favourable tyre at the moment, and Gemso might be having to admit defeat in the coming laps. So Flores leads, Gemso second, Iceman is third, Diego Killer fourth, then it's Cherry Tupai in fifth, the H-Eagle is sixth with Theo in seventh, and he's got his mirrors full of Mercedes and Sauber. Sam and Caribbean Crush hunting him down in the remaining laps for the minor points at the fringes of the top 10. A real battle going on here. Doesn't look like there's going to be a move here from Sammy. Has a little look up the inside, but unable to make that move stick. And we continue to watch this, and it's Caribbean Crush now as we go to the overhead cam, the cockpit cam, the cockpit cam, helicopter cam. Such a great view of the skyline over this Singapore circuit. Without doubt, one of the best events on the Formula 1 calendar. So well set up. Singapore as organised as ever. The subway links as well make it such a good event. You could get a general admission pass for the Singapore Grand Prix, stand at one corner during free practice 1, and within 20 minutes, half an hour, jump on the subway and you could be at another end of the racetrack. It really is that great access around this Singapore circuit to watch the action. And being a street circuit, you do get right up close and personal with the lack of runoff areas. It is certainly, for me, got to be one of the best Grand Prix in the calendar to visit. And yeah, of course with the nightlife around surrounding it as well, and the many tourist attractions, it really is a big pull for Formula 1 fans. As we go back to Flores at the front with a bit of an kick of oversteer there. Gemso getting closer again. DRS open, but it doesn't look like a move is going to be made by him here, and Flores still holds on to that lead, and the frustration will be going through the roof for Gemso. You'll be feeling like Lewis Hamilton from the Grand Prix this afternoon, I have to say. And again, unable to get close enough to Flores for a move. So, what about that battle further on through the field? We've got a yellow flag, and why is that? Who's that? Oh, it's Cherry Tupai. He spun it. Oh, he's thrown away a brilliant 5th place. And that allows the H-Eagle up into 5th and Cherry Tupai down to 6th. And now, oh, this will get saucy. Very saucy. He's got damaged front wing. Oh, it's too badly damaged. I was going to say he might try and stay out and hold these guys off, but no, that's too much of a damage. But that might create a bit of a interesting result here. The slow-moving car with these three behind him. Gemso, meanwhile, and Flores are really close as well. I want to go back to that because it's really close, but I want to kind of watch both of them. I don't think James is going to be close this time round, so I'm going to take a gamble and keep an eye on the battle that's developing here. Cherry Tupai holding them off with damaged front wing. Is this going to be the chance that Sam and Caribbean Crush want to try and have a look at Theo? Cherry Tupai struggling with that damaged wing, And look at them all queuing up for so much understeer in that car. Look at them all swarming all over the back of them like bees. Cherry Tupai 6th, Theo 7th, Sam 8th and Caribbean Crush 9th and Theo all over the back of Cherry Tupai who's coming into the pits. And finally the cork in the champagne bottle is released. And that will be disappointing for Sam and Caribbean Crush. They've been hoping there for a chance. But Gemzo is very close to Flores. 2.5 tenths there I've seen on the screen. But again, frustratingly, it's not enough. Cherry Tupai in the pits drops to 10th position. What about the little battle here that's been developing as the laps tick by? Cherry Tupai's pit stop might have just created an opportunity, a window here for Sam to have a look at Theo. He's closer than I think he's been all race long. DRS open on the Mercedes. Is he going to try a lunge on Theo? This is now for 6th place. No, he's not. And again, the frustration must be so high. Must be absolutely desperate to find a way through. It's been frustrating for me to watch, and probably for you guys viewing back home. And that's just F1 in 2017 on a street circuit. It is not easy. And Gemzo now is only 2 and a bit tenths behind Flores again. So let's go to that. Unbelievable. Relentless pressure. Look at him. He's pushing him through those corners. And is that damage? Is that damage? Oh, I thought he might have damaged his wing there. Gemzo. Oh, the unbelievable levels of pressure he's mounting on Flores. But so far, the Dutchman out front is showing nerves of steel to hold him off. Can Gemzo finally get a good run through turn 1, 2 and 3 and give him a chance down Raffles Boulevard? Flores with the rear end stepping out a little there, it was. And maybe this time for Gemzo. Maybe, just maybe. Lap 25 out of 31, the laps tick by, the DRS opens for Gemzo. 4 and a bit tenths, he's going to get closer and closer I think this time round. Gaining and gaining on Flores. Oh, he's right up to him now. He's right on his tail. Flores a little bit wide. Still, he's stuck in 2nd place as the Williams. Both these drivers determined to show that they are worthy of a move up into AOR F1 in the PS4 next season. And right now they are absolutely delivering. And look at Gemzo pushing to the absolute limits there. Running wide, getting all sorts of understeer as he trundled across the marbles on the exit of the corner. And again Flores gets a little bit of respite and the battle simmers down briefly. It's been one of those races, not a classic but a tense, nail-biting finale is in store. It's just slowly simmered in the pot and at any moment it could boil over. It has been one of those afternoons, or evenings I should say, and Gemzo, oh, clipping the wall there, and thankfully for us watching doesn't damage his wing and end all hopes of victory. He needs to be careful. That's a couple of times now he's been running wide, twice on this lap alone. He's overstepped the mark and he oversteps it again. And are the tyres beginning to go maybe on Gemzo's car? Is that maybe the issue? Quite possibly. As they head now onto lap 26 out of 31. And it remains as you were. Flores leading from Gemzo. And Iceman in 3rd. I've just noticed there is comments. It's not showing up on my screen with those comments. I don't know why that is on people watching it. But I wasn't actually watching the stream. I was watching the comments on the stream. I was only looking on the actual race and not seeing any comments pop up on the right hand side, so I didn't feel there was any point. But there have been a few comments. 5 laps to go, folks. Does anyone think that Flores can be caught? Does anyone think Gemzo can overturn the deficit on the super softs, or do you think he's had the best out of those tyres? Is his chances gone? Certainly going to be hard to see if he can, as Flores continues to hold the upper hand. I think Gemzo's best chance might be gone. Now that's my personal opinion. I'll be interested to see what you guys think. Iceman running 3rd, the Eagle Killer in 4th, the H-Eagle in 5th, a solid end to the German season. Theo is 6th with Sam all over him in 7th. That looks like the battle to watch now that Gemzo's dropped off Flores a little bit. Perhaps the tyres have gone past the sell-by date for Gemzo and he's going to have to settle for 2nd in the F2 finale. So here we go, Sam right up behind Theo. This looks like a move. Theo getting it all wrong there, and Sam on those soft tyres, a little bit more life in them perhaps, goes right round the outside of Theo. Can he make it stick? Right up against the wall. Oh, unbelievable. Dodgems from the pair of them, and has it worked? It might now though. Sam round the outside. I've never seen a move there in my life. Absolutely beautiful. Great racing there, on the limit of what's acceptable as they bang wheels, and Sam, the Frenchman, shows why he was where he is in the championship. Drives clean round the outside of Theo in a place I have never seen an overtake in the whole of my life. Beautiful stuff from Sam. Passes the Greek driver and up into 6th place. Great move there from Sam. I really enjoyed that. And through he goes. So Theo now 7th as Caribbean Crush is now retired from the race. Damaged his wing. I think he's wiped it off. Yep, he has wiped it off. And as a result, he retires. He's not going to get any points anyway. And out of the race goes Caribbean Crush. And that means it's a double retirement for the Sauber team, as Cherry Tupai now gets the honour of the fastest lap of the Grand Prix, down in 10th position at the back of the pack. As we now go to Elite Game Boy and RC Googs, the Portuguese driver. Is he going to be able to defend here from Elite Game Boy? It doesn't look like it. Elite Game Boy, remember, the man that made that very late pit stop in the race, goes through, but here comes RC Googs back. Nope, no way back through. And Elite Game Boy doubles his points tally from that there, from 2 points for 9th for 4 points for 8th. So Elite Game Boy up now into 8th position, and down to 9th goes RC Goog. So real disappointment there for him. And Elite Game Boy on his way now for 8th. Can he now chase after Theo in the remaining laps? He was about 4.1 seconds up the road and around a second behind Sam, having just been overtaken. Let's go back to the front. Flores in control of this Grand Prix, out in the lead. Yes, Joe Hines, this is live. Flores against Gemsel, 1.4 now between them as we go into the final 3.5 laps. It looks like Flores is riding the storm. I'll give you a quick race recap. Flores set that brilliant qualifying lap yesterday, beating the pack by 6/10 to Gemsel. Gemsel then shadowed him in the early stint of the Grand Prix. Flores pitted first, went for softs. Gemsel extended his stint out and felt the need to try super softs, a different strategy to try and challenge Flores. And challenge he did. He was all over the back of him in the last 5 or 6 laps, trying everywhere to try and make a move, but quite simply it was impossible to make a move. And in the last few laps I think his tyres have given up the ghost, and the soft tyres, the more durable soft tyres, are now working better than the old super softs on Gemsel's car, and that is how we stand with the gap at around 1.5 seconds. Flores ahead of Gemsel. Iceman in 3rd. He was locked in a race-long battle with Diego Killer. Diego Killer though, or certainly in the first stint they were, Diego Killer then damaged his front wing, lost out, dropped behind the H-Eagle, but now coming back at Iceman, having passed the H-Eagle, and maybe, just maybe in the remaining laps there's a fight on there for the final podium spot, so we'll keep an eye on that one. The H-Eagles in a lonely race in 5th. They had of course been overtaken by Diego Killer and not at the pace to keep with those guys. Sam in 6th has been in a race-long strap with the likes of Theo and Elite Game Boy. RC Googs as well. Cherry Tupai rounding out the top 10. He's had a forgettable afternoon, having had to make an extra stop, as you can see there on the left hand side. Caribbean Crush meanwhile, his race ended a few laps ago. Override Kink as well had a forgettable day. Dan the Snake. Cully Worley, your world champion of course, Cully Worley, bowing out of this finale quite early. Guy the Guy, 15th and last, and the first guy out of the Grand Prix. He retired in the penultimate corner with a crash, and that's how his race ended as it did. So Flores is now on lap 29 out of 31, and looks to me like he has weathered the storm from Gemsel. He's opened the gap out to 1.8 seconds. And now I'm going to have to ask you guys, driver of the day. And Tom is asking, Tom, why the race is being run. And I don't actually know, to be honest. I wasn't part of the AOR when this race was cancelled, but it has now been rerun. Well, I say rerun, it was a rerun because it was cancelled the first time, so it's a second attempt at running it. It was of course scheduled in the calendar for round 14, but I think it might have been due to PSN issues perhaps, the reason for this race being missed out. Maybe turnout, I'm not sure. One of the two reasons, I'm not sure. Hopefully someone else can point you as to why that is, but I think it was PSN issues, and maybe the F2 boys elected to do the rerun and maybe other leagues chose not to. So what about the battle for 3rd and 4th? Diego Killer behind Iceman. That looks like the best battle on track as Flores now pushes the gap above 2 seconds. Driver of the day though, I mean I want to have a discussion about that. A quick word on that. Anyone in the comments has been watching the race, who would you go for your driver of the day? There's your position changes if that's any use to you. I mean, Googe is up 6, but a lot of that's down to retirements perhaps, you could argue. Elite Game Boy up 3, Cherry 2 by down 4, certainly not him. I'm inclined to go for Flores or Gemso. I mean, Gemso's kept them honest all race long. Gemso probably had the better race pace, but that qualifying lap from Flores yesterday was just so good. It was absolutely superb, and for that reason alone, I would probably give it to him as Gemso picks up another 3-second time penalty, and that really does put that battle to bed. So what about Diego Killer? Is he close enough for a move on Iceman as they go down to this right-hander and head on to Raffles Boulevard? It looks like he is, you know. I thought this would have been a tall order for Diego Killer, but now the Dutchman is moving into position to try and get a third Dutchman on the podium. He's not close enough though, and Iceman thwarts him and holds on to that third position. 1.5 laps to go, running out of overtaking opportunities. Is there any way Diego Killer can push himself up and ahead of Iceman and complete a sweep of the podium places for the Dutchman? Flores, Gemso, 2 Dutchmen out in front. Iceman, the Englishman, holding on to third at the moment, but Diego Killer is all over the back of him, looking everywhere, dancing all over the gearbox of the McLaren, hoping for a chance. We've got a yellow flag in sector 2. Elite Game Boy has made an error. What has happened to him? He's dropped outside the top 10 with a big spin. He's damaged the front wing, so ahead goes Googs and Cherry 2 But we need to go back to that battle that's raging for third and fourth. Flores moments away from starting the final lap of the Grand Prix. Fireworks on standby to end the season all around the Singapore city. That's why people sit in that grandstand right there as we go underneath the racetrack, because you get a great view of the fireworks over the water and looking onto the city skyline. That's why there's the price in the ticket as we watch Diego Killer try on this final lap to attack the back of Iceman. There's his pit board on the left hand side. Push, push, push. That's all they're asking from the Toro Rosso driver. Arguably, he's got 1 or 2 overtaking opportunities left. We've got another yellow flag in sector 2 and 3. Who is that? Elite Game Boy. He'll need to get to the finish because he will want to score that point. What's going on here? Oh! Big mistake there from Theo. And he drops to 9th. Cherry 2 by damages his wing, and Googs is up to 7th. So Googs 7th, Cherry 2 by 8th, Theo 9th. And Theo's cruising now with a right rear puncture. That's why he's cruising. Theo has a puncture on the final lap. Oh, heartbreak. Absolute heartbreak for him. It's all kicking off. What about Diego Killer? Is he close enough to end the race with a podium? End the season with a podium? Season 14 coming to a close. Still, we don't know what the final podium places are. But I think the money's on Iceman to collect it. Disaster. Heartbreak for Theo with that late puncture. He will still come home 9th for 2 World Championship points. I think Elite Game Boy's completed enough of the race to get a point. Up the inside goes Diego Killer. Oh, that was aggressive. That was late. He bangs wheels with Iceman. He does complete the move. Now, is that hard racing but fair racing, or is it over the limit? That'll go to the steward's room, that's for sure. But let's move away from that and keep an eye on Flores. Here he comes. An expert drive, my drive of the day, never put a foot wrong all weekend, a super lap in qualifying. He ends season 14 in F2 with a victory. And it's a superb performance to stamp his authority and make a point about moving up into F1 next season. A great performance. Gemso is 2nd, and Diego Killer is going to go home 3rd, controversially 3rd. Some might say it was a great move, some might say it was a bit aggressive. I'm not a steward, I'm a commentator, I'm not going to comment on it. But it is actually Iceman that's got 3rd, Diego 4th as a result of penalties, so there you go, that puts that to bed immediately. The H-Eagle 5th, and Sam is going to be 6th as the fireworks go off to end a sensational season in F2. Season 14 draws to a close with Sam home there in 6th position. Cherry 2 Pie, look at that, he's celebrating the end of the season. He'll go off on his holidays, satisfied as he comes across the line in 7th. RC Googs, he's going to bring it home in 8th, and it will be Theo that will see the flag in 9th. Well, there you go, a word from Samuel there. He says that Flores is poor racecraft, but he is fast. And I did see he was involved in an incident during the week there in that Ziggle race, but we've got to take nothing away from him today. He has performed expertly from the front with a great qualifying lap yesterday. and he's come up with the answer here in the race. He was pressured all the way from Gemzo all race long, but it didn't matter. Flores winning the final round of the AOR season across all platforms, the final round of all. A week late, it's the AOR F2 season on PS4 coming to a close and rounding off the entirety of season 14. And yeah, Flores ends it on top. Curly Wurly, of course, the champion in F2. He'll be looking for a promotion next year, as well these guys on the podium. A fine performance from Flores. Under pressure all the way, but he didn't crack, and that's why he's the victor here in Singapore. And the champagne sprays. The season comes to a close. Flores on top. Diego Killer second. Sorry, no, my apologies. Gemzo second, and of course third for the other McLaren of AOR Iceman. So a fine Singapore Grand Prix, a fine way to end the season. It was a 10th finale, but in the end, Flores came out on top. He wins the Singapore Grand Prix with Gemzo home in second. Iceman came home third, with Diego Killer ending his season in fourth. The H-Eagle, the German, with a solid performance to come home fifth. Sam recovered from seventh to come home sixth. Cherry Tupai, a disappointed seventh, you have to say. RC Googs brought the Toro Rosso home in eighth. He was the biggest mover in the field, up 7 places. Theo was ninth, and it was 10th for the Renault of Elite Game Boy. The rest of the drivers did not see the flag. In fact, Elite Game Boy himself didn't see the flag, but he was classified because he finished. He did get enough of the race completed, and that rounds it off. The rest of them all out in the final round of the World Championship. So, I hope you've enjoyed the Singapore Grand Prix here in PS4 F2. Be sure to join us next season as we get into some really exciting times for the AOR. Of course, the sign-ups have just been put out there on the forums, so if you're just watching for the first time, be sure to go onto the forums and sign up for what will be renamed the Hype Energy AOR F1 League. Of course, AOR announcing during the week there that we do have a new sponsor to join the AOR family. So the Hype Energy F1 Leagues, get yourself signed up for season 15. It is on the way. But I might have a little go at some podium interviews. Will we try and get some podium interviews? You know what? Let's have a go at it. Let's try and get some of these guys in here for a podium interview. We might as well. In fact, no, I'm not even going to bother. In fact, hold on. Let's try it. I'm going to try. Bear with us, folks, till I try and get these guys in. You'll have a couple of minutes, guys, as I try to get these guys in. So bear with us for the podium interviews. I'm going to try and get Flores, Gemzo, and AOR Iceman into here. It will not be easy. But yeah, that does, of course, round off the AOR F1 season on season 14. So yep, season 15 sign-ups are out now on the forums. I've seen today that they were released. So if you're looking for a spot in the AOR next year across all the tiers on PS4, PC and Xbox, be sure to do that. In fact, this is going to take forever to get these guys in. I'm going to call it a day. I'm going to abandon that, folks. I've not even got them all as a friend, so for that reason I'm just going to let it go and forget the podium interviews today. I will, of course, get them all added up, and we can do that in the future. But today, too much to ask to get the podium interviews in. I think by the time I get them all in, you guys will have been fed up waiting. So that rounds it off, the Singapore Grand Prix, the final round of the AOR F2 season. Be sure to join us next season. It starts on the weekend, the Sunday, the 15th of April. That is when season 15 starts, the final season on the F1 game. So be sure, on the F1 2017 game, so to be sure to join us then. We're going to have the PC, the Xbox, and of course the PS4 across all leagues, and we're going to try and get as many of them streamed live for you guys to watch and watch back as drivers. So yeah, that rounds off season 14. I've enjoyed it. I hope you have too. Good night.